how do you train your mind in a fast food culture and I want everything today culture and I want to get rich today? How does somebody who's listening to this understand, dude, you got to chill out for whatever happens in the next 6 years doesn't really matter?
That's a great question. I wrote a whole chapter in my new book called Wealth is Patience. That's my thesis.
I like
and
that.
I make the analogy of, we live in this microwave culture where we have to be crockpots. And that's a hard thing to do. People look at you like you're crazy. When you're the tortoise in a world full of hares, everyone's like, dude, what are you doing? You're going so slow.
Yeah.
What do you mean you invest in your 401k and you're just happy and peaceful with that? They think I should be doing something fancier and moving faster and building wealth at a faster rate. And so a lot of it comes down to perspective and being okay with your own financial journey and putting the blinders on, not comparing yourself to others. Because I go, what are you trying to move faster for? We have 19-year-olds that call into the show and they go, how do I turn my 100,000 into $1 million in 5 years? And I go, what's your goal with that? I don't know. I just feel like I should be building wealth faster because there's this just stress that time is running out for me to build wealth. And I go, what would you do if you got everything you dreamed of? And then what? You have $1 million and then what? Well, and then I'd buy the thing. Okay, then what? Yeah. And then what? And you keep asking those questions, turns out no one's really thought through what the next 30 years really looks like. They're just chasing the next dollar.
Yeah, that's so right. And I think social media makes that difficult because you constantly see people having the nice cars, flying first class, flying the private jet, and having all these things. And you're like, dude, this guy's 26 and he's got X, Y, and Z. He's flying in a private jet going to a private island. But I think a lot of people miss the broader picture there where, first off, are they actually affording that? Because that was something I learned the hard way. Because when I was younger, I dreamed of having a BMW i8, which, when it was on the market was probably $130,000 off the lot, which is expensive.
Yeah.
And I would see these guys talking about, oh, dude, I'm making 6 figures a year. Look at me. I got this BMW i8. And then I was like, dude, that's a lot. That's so cool. And then when I got to the point where I could comfortably afford the BMW i8 and not have to worry about the price, my want for that car went way down here. Like when I couldn't afford it, my want was way up here. Yeah. When I could afford it, it went way down here. And I was like, wait, I can afford it, but I really don't think I should buy it. I really don't think I can actually afford it because my wealth needs more money right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's it's a tough pill to swallow because a lot of people assume that, dude, you got to make this money. Everybody's making this money so you can live this lifestyle, so you can find a spouse, a husband, or a wife. And it just gets into this whole toxic mentality as opposed to being complacent, but also understanding. Like, I don't want people to be like, oh, I should be okay where I am. But also understanding that there's a journey, and the journey is where the real wealth is built.
Yeah. And I think part of that is, a lot of young single guys out there in particular, which are the ones that generally watch channels like ours on YouTube, there's this chasing of wealth. And in no other time in history have we seen where a 19-year-old can just go make $1 million.
Yeah.
Like 10, 20 years ago, that didn't exist.
Right.
Now we're seeing people all over with content creators and YouTubers and all kinds of, this entrepreneurship push. People can make a lot of money, but they can also spend a lot of money. And that's what we're seeing as lifestyle creep happens. And what's very humbling is getting married and having a kid. That will change your priorities in the best way.
Yeah.
To where you don't have to, what are we flexing for? The only person I care about impressing is my wife at this point, and she's not impressed. And so it's so freeing. I'm like, who cares what kind of car I drive? Like, I drove a 09 Honda Civic, the bumpers, half falling off the thing. Dave Ramsey's making fun of me, and I went, I have priorities. I'm trying to pay off the house, then I'll upgrade in car.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did, and I have no regrets with my financial plan, and I didn't care what anyone thought about my plan.
And I think that's so interesting because now you are this internet celebrity. You're this guy that's got so many followers. You're sitting on stage with Dave Ramsey talking all this stuff. You've built all this wealth. You've got this best-selling book, and yet you're saying, I know you said it as a joke, but, my wife's not impressed. What matters to your wife? As this guy is financially successful, like what is important to you and your wife in your relationship? What would you say are the most important things?
Well, she works at Ramsey, so we're very aligned with our values, which is a beautiful thing. A lot of couples, that takes a long time just to get on the same page. And so what she really values now is how present I am at home, how helpful I am with our 5-month-old baby girl. That's what matters. It's not what cars we drive. We just bought my wife a new to us car. It's the nicest car we've ever owned. It about hurt my soul to write that check. But we're at a place where it's not a big part of our world.
Yeah.
We're going to pay cash. And again, it didn't change our life. It didn't change who we were. And we're not doing it to impress anyone. And so I think that the motive needs to change over time as you mature.
But because I think a lot of single guys kind of might not understand this. If you now brought home, let's say $100,000 check for your wife, but you weren't present, you weren't being the man in the relationship, you weren't being the supporting father, would that $100,000 cover what you're doing?
Well, we've seen the movies where the father tries to like buy the daughter's love, and all she wants is like the hug and the quality time. And so I think it's a trope, but it's true that the quality of your life has very little to do with money. Now, money problems will be an obstacle to the quality of your life, but at a certain threshold, money is just a tool. And it can't give you character, it can't give you integrity, it can't give you a great marriage. And we see that all the time. People that have tons of money get divorced and have terrible marriages and have their kids hate them. And so I think it's a beautiful thing where you go, the money is just amoral.
Yeah.
It can't change you. And so I think seeing it through the lens of, I'm a steward of this money. I want to be a good manager of it. I want to use it to be a blessing to my family, my community, the people around me. That just is a much healthier view versus what could I buy with this stuff that could be a flex, that could impress people. My friends don't care. Half my friends work here. They for sure don't care.
But what about now if you're in the dating scene, if you're trying to find your wife or your girlfriend? Because this is what I hear from a lot of my single friends. Dude, you got to make money if you want to get a girl because no one's going to want to come into a Toyota Camry.
Oh my gosh, that's a funny one. Because when I first started dating my wife, I opened the door for her not really out of chivalry, but because I didn't have automatic locks. You know what I mean? I still had the roll-up windows on my Chevy Cobalt when we were dating. Yeah. And so I think if you find the right woman, she's not concerned. And if you do find the woman who's only concerned about what you've got, you are marrying the wrong woman. Unless that's the kind of person you both are and that you want to live that life of you both flex for the rest of your life, I've never seen a 50-year marriage where that was the case. The successful marriages are always people who are level-headed with the same values, who are not trying to impress the people around them.
If you enjoyed this clip and you want to watch the entire conversation, all you got to do is click that button right over there. And for those of you who want to stay up to date on the top finance and business news, you can join Market Briefs, my free financial newsletter, by clicking that button below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.